I stood outside the Grand Haven Hotel at 9:47 p.m. on New Year's Eve, holding my boyfriend's work portfolio like the devoted girlfriend I'd always been, and I had no idea my entire life was about to detonate in the next 8 minutes. What did I do when I caught them? Take a guess in the comments. I'm dying to know what you would have done. My name is Josie, and for 3 years, I was the girl who made everything easy for Brennan Cole. I packed his lunches for long shifts at the architecture firm. I ironed his presentation shirts at midnight when he forgot. I drove across town to deliver forgotten flash drives. I was 27 years old, working as a data coordinator at a tech startup, and I genuinely believed we were building something real together. That New Year's Eve started exactly like I thought it would. Brennan kissed me at the door of our apartment at 6:15 p.m., straightening his navy tie in the hallway mirror. "Big night," he said, flashing that grin that made me fall for him during a college mixer 4 years ago. If this pitch goes well, Hartley and I might finally get promoted to junior partners. The New Year's Eve client dinner is basically our audition. I adjusted his collar, proud of him. "You're gonna crush it. Text me when it's over?" Might be late. These corporate dinners drag on forever, especially on New Year's, but I'll try to make it home before midnight so we can still celebrate together. I watched him leave in his silver Audi, the one we'd saved up for together, splitting the down payment 50-50, even though I made $18,000 less than him annually. At 9:23 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Brennan. Josie, I'm so sorry. I left my portfolio with all the client renderings on the kitchen counter. I'm completely screwed without it. Can you bring it to the Grand Haven, please?" I didn't hesitate. I grabbed my coat, found the leather portfolio exactly where he said it would be, and drove through the cold December night feeling like the girlfriend who saves the day. I arrived at the Grand Haven Hotel at 9:41 p.m. The lobby sparkled with New Year's decorations. Gold and silver balloons clustered near the ceiling. Champagne glasses clinked somewhere in the distance. Everything felt celebratory, elegant, expensive. I walked up to the front desk where a woman in her early 30s, name tag reading Simone, greeted me with a professional smile. "Hi," I said, slightly breathless from rushing. "I need to drop off this portfolio for my boyfriend. He's at a client dinner tonight. Brennan Cole from Hartley Associates." Simone's fingers moved across her keyboard. Her expression shifted from helpful to confused within 3 seconds. "Ma'am, I don't see any corporate events scheduled for tonight. Are you sure it's here?" My stomach tightened. "Maybe it's under the firm name? Hartley Associates? It's a big New Year's client dinner." More typing. Simone's face softened with something that looked uncomfortably like pity. "Ma'am, I don't see any group reservations under that name." She hesitated, then lowered her voice. "But I do see a room reservation under Brennan Cole, room 804. The floor seemed to tilt slightly. "Room 804, I repeated. "Would you like me to call up to the room?" "No." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "I'll surprise him." I turned toward the elevators, portfolio clutched against my chest like a shield. My heartbeat hammered in my ears as I stepped inside and pressed the button for the 8th floor. The elevator climbed smoothly, and I stared at my reflection in the polished steel doors. I looked exactly like what I was, a girl in jeans and a winter coat, hair pulled into a messy ponytail, holding her boyfriend's forgotten work materials. Because that's what good girlfriends do. The elevator stopped at the 7th floor. The doors slid open. And that's when everything ended. I heard her first, a high, bright laugh that I'd heard 1,000 times before, usually across my own dining table or in my living room during movie nights. The sound yanked my attention upward, and I saw them in the mirror above the elevator buttons. Brennan, his hands tangled in her dark curls, his mouth pressed against hers with the kind of intensity that comes from familiarity, not a first kiss. And Sloane Ashford, my roommate, the girl I'd lived with for 2 years, the one who borrowed my clothes and split grocery bills with me and cried on my shoulder when her ex-boyfriend cheated on her 6 months ago.
The girl who sat on our couch 3 nights ago eating leftover Thai food with me, asking if Brennan and I had talked about getting engaged soon. They stood just outside the elevator, completely absorbed in each other. Sloane wore a black dress I'd never seen before, something slinky and deliberate. My hands moved on autopilot. I lifted my phone, opened the camera, and took 4 photos in rapid succession. The shutter sound was silent. The flash was off. They never looked toward the elevator. The photos captured everything. The angle of Brennan's jaw, the way Sloane's fingers gripped his shirt, both of their faces visible in profile, unmistakable and damning. The elevator doors began to close. They sealed shut with a soft, mechanical whisper, and the elevator continued its climb to the 8th floor. I stood there, alone, staring at the photos on my screen. 4 images that had just destroyed 3 years of my life in less than 10 seconds. 8th floor. The doors opened onto an empty hallway. I stepped out, legs shaking, and realized I was still holding Brennan's portfolio. I rode the elevator back down in complete silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind where your ears feel stuffed with static and your thoughts move too fast to form actual words. When I reached the lobby, I walked straight to the front desk. Simone looked up and her professional expression cracked immediately. "Oh no," she said quietly. "Are you okay?" "I need somewhere to sit, somewhere private." Simone came around the desk without hesitation and led me to a small seating area near the hotel bar, tucked behind a decorative screen covered in trailing ivy. She sat across from me, and I set the portfolio down on the glass table like I was placing evidence at a crime scene. "What did you see?" she asked gently. "My boyfriend with my roommate. They were kissing." Simone nodded slowly. "How long have you been together?" 3 years. My voice sounded distant. "Sloane moved in with us 8 months ago when her lease ended. She needed a place. I thought I was helping her." 8 months. That's how long they'd been under the same roof. That's how long Sloane sat across from me at breakfast, borrowed my shampoo, asked me for advice about dating apps, all while sleeping with my boyfriend. "What are you going to do?" Simone asked. For 3 years, I'd been the girl who smoothed things over, who apologized first, who made life easier for everyone around me. I worked extra shifts so Brennan could afford the Audi. I gave up my home office so Sloane could have a bigger bedroom. But sitting in that hotel lobby, staring at 4 photos that proved how little I mattered to the 2 people I trusted most, something inside me shifted. Something cold and precise and remarkably calm. "Can you help me with something?" I asked. Simone leaned forward. "What do you need?" "Security footage from the 7th floor elevator area about 10 minutes ago." Simone pulled out her phone and made a quick call. When she hung up, she said, "Cameras cover that area with a clear angle. Footage is stored automatically for 60 days. If you need it for legal reasons, we can coordinate with your attorney." "Thank you. I meant it. I need one more thing." She handed me a notepad and pen from her blazer pocket. I wrote a single sentence in my neatest handwriting. "We're done. Don't come home." I slid my apartment key off my keyring and placed it inside a hotel envelope Simone provided, along with the note. "I'm going back upstairs," I said, standing. "I'm leaving this outside his room. Then I'm going home to change my locks." The elevator ride back up felt completely different this time. I wasn't the confused, betrayed girlfriend anymore. I was someone with a plan, with evidence, with a spine I'd forgotten I had. Room 804 sat at the end of the hallway. I could hear voices inside, Brennan's deep laugh mixed with Sloane's higher one. They sounded relaxed, happy, completely unaware that their secret was already documented and ready to detonate. I leaned the portfolio carefully against the door. The envelope with my key and note rested on top, my handwriting visible through the hotel's cream-colored paper. I didn't knock. I didn't leave a long explanation. I'd spent 3 years explaining myself to Brennan, justifying my feelings. making myself smaller so he could feel bigger. That version of Josie was gone. Back in the lobby, Simone had coffee waiting, black, exactly how I'd asked. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram. My account was modest, maybe 340 followers, mostly college friends, co-workers, family members, people who knew Brennan, people who knew Sloane. I selected the clearest photo, the one where both their faces were visible, where the intimacy was unmistakable. I typed a caption, "Came to drop off my boyfriend's forgotten portfolio, found him celebrating New Year's Eve early. Turns out the client dinner was in room 804 with my roommate. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Happy New Year to everyone who deserves it." I added a location tag, Grand Haven Hotel. Then I scheduled the post for exactly 11 p.m., 1 hour before midnight, right when everyone would be checking their phones before the countdown. "One more thing," I said to Simone. "Do you have the direct number for hotel management?" She wrote it down on hotel stationery. I called and spoke with a manager named Lawrence, requesting that security footage be preserved for potential legal proceedings. He agreed and documented my request at 10:04 p.m. Then I opened my text messages and found Sloane's older sister, Bailey. I'd met her maybe 5 times, but she seemed like someone who deserved to know. "Josie, hi Bailey, this is Josie, Sloane's roommate. I need to tell you something difficult. I caught Sloane with my boyfriend tonight at the Grand Haven Hotel. I have proof. I'm posting about it at 11 p.m. I thought you should know first." The response came within 2 minutes. "Oh my God, Josie, I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling me. Sloane's been acting weird for months. For what it's worth, you deserve so much better."
I checked the time before setting my phone down, and it was 42 minutes until everything changed. I sat in that hotel lobby beneath the gold and silver New Year's decorations and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Control, clarity, self-respect. I thought about all the small moments I'd ignored over the past 8 months. Brennan working late more often, Sloane suddenly interested in architecture, the way they both got quiet when I entered rooms, how Brennan stopped touching me as much, stopped looking at me the way he used to. I'd seen it all. I just chose to believe the lies because the truth was too painful. Not anymore. At 10:47 p.m., my phone rang. Brennan. I declined the call. 30 seconds later, Sloane called. I declined again. They'd found the portfolio. They'd found my note. They were panicking. At 10:52 p.m., Brennan called back, then again at 10:53, then Sloane at 10:55. I switched my phone to silent and watched the screen light up with their desperation. 15 missed calls in 8 minutes. At 10:58 p.m., a text from Brennan appeared. Brennan. "Josie, please call me. This isn't what it looks like. I can explain everything. Please don't do anything crazy." I typed back one sentence. "Josie, check Instagram at 11. At exactly 11 p.m., while the rest of the city prepared to celebrate the coming year, my Instagram post went live. My phone exploded. Notifications flooded in so fast the screen could barely keep up. Comments, likes, shares, direct messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Within 5 minutes, the post had 89 likes and 34 comments. Within 10 minutes, someone had screenshot it and posted it to their own story with the caption, "This is wild. New Year's Eve karma is real." By 11:15 p.m., my phone had 43 missed calls. I answered exactly one call. My sister, Hannah. "Josie, oh my God, are you okay? I'm at the Grand Haven Hotel. I caught them. I'm leaving. Do you want me to drive down tonight?" "No, stay with your family. I'm okay. Actually, I'm better than okay." Hannah paused. "You sound different." "I feel different." "Good. Burn it all down, Josie. You deserve so much better." After I hung up, I looked at Simone. "I'm going home now. Thank you for everything tonight. You helped me more than you know." She hugged me. "You're going to be just fine. I can tell." I drove home through the cold December night, watching fireworks begin to spark in the distance as midnight approached. I parked outside our apartment building at 11:34 p.m. The lights were off inside. Neither of them had made it home yet. I called a 24-hour locksmith. He arrived at 11:52 p.m., 8 minutes before midnight, and changed every lock on our apartment door for $340. At exactly midnight, while the city erupted in celebration, I sat on my couch in my newly secured apartment and raised a glass of wine to absolutely no one. "Happy New Year, Josie," I said to the empty room. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Unknown. This is Hartley, Brennan's boss. I just saw your Instagram post. I need to speak with you tomorrow. This is a serious matter. Please call my office at 9 a.m. I stared at that message for a long moment. Then I smiled, because tomorrow wasn't just January 1st, the start of a new year. Tomorrow was the day Brennan's career caught up with his choices, and I was just getting started.
I woke up on New Year's Day to 127 notifications on my phone. Instagram comments ranged from supportive, "You are a queen," to shocked, "Oh my God, I literally saw them at Coffee Bean last week and thought nothing of it," to absolutely vicious toward Brennan and Sloan. "Hope karma hits them like a freight train." The post had 1,200 likes now. 340 followers had become 890 overnight. People were tagging friends, sharing screenshots. My story had gone beyond my social circle into the wider universe of strangers who loved watching cheaters get exposed on New Year's Eve of all nights. But the message that mattered most was the one from Hartley, Brennan's boss, asking me to call at 9 a.m. I made coffee, showered, and put on the navy blazer I wore to work presentations. If I was going to burn Brennan's career down, I was going to do it looking professional. At exactly 9 a.m., I called. "Ms. Hartwell, thank you for calling." Hartley's voice was clipped, formal. "I need to discuss the post you made last night regarding Brennan Cole." "Of course." "Can you verify the claims you made? Because if they're accurate, this represents a significant issue for our firm." I didn't hesitate. "I have photographic evidence, hotel security footage timestamps, and documentation from hotel management. Everything I posted is verifiable." A pause. "The woman in the photos, that's Sloan Ashford?" "Yes, my roommate." "Ms. Hartwell, I need to be direct with you. Sloan Ashford is not just your roommate. She's the daughter of Gavin Ashford, CEO of Ashford Properties. They're one of our largest clients. Brennan was assigned to their account 4 months ago." The room tilted slightly. 4 months ago, right around the time Sloan suddenly became interested in architecture, right around the time she started asking me about Brennan's projects. So Brennan was sleeping with a client's daughter while working on that client's account. "That's exactly the problem," Hartley said. "This isn't just infidelity, it's a massive conflict of interest. If Gavin Ashford finds out his daughter was involved with the architect handling his multi-million-dollar developments, he'll pull every contract we have. That's 40% of our annual revenue. What are you going to do?" "I need to see your evidence first. Can you come to the office at 11 a.m.? "I'll be there." I hung up and immediately opened my laptop. A quick Google search confirmed everything. Gavin Ashford, 56, self-made real estate mogul, known for being ruthless in business and fiercely protective of his family. Multiple articles mentioned his daughter, Sloan, 25, who worked sporadically in brand consulting, but mostly lived off her trust fund. Brennan hadn't just cheated, he'd climbed into bed with a client's daughter while working on that client's account. The kind of ethical violation that could end careers and destroy firms. At 9:47 a.m., someone knocked on my apartment door. I checked the people. Sloan. She looked terrible. Hair unwashed, eyes puffy, wearing the same black dress from last night under a winter coat. She knocked again, harder. "Josie, please, I know you're in there. Please, just talk to me." I opened the door but left the chain lock engaged. "You have 2 minutes." Sloane's face crumpled. "Josie, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. It started out innocent, and then—" "Nothing about this was innocent. You moved into my home. You ate my food. You borrowed my clothes. You sat on my couch and asked me if Brennan and I were getting engaged, and the entire time you were sleeping with him. I know, I'm a terrible person, but please, can you take the post down? It's everywhere. My father saw it. Brennan's boss saw it. People are messaging me horrible things. My entire family knows now." "Good." Sloane flinched. "Josie, please, I'm begging you. I'll move out today. I'll never contact Brennan again. Just please take it down." "No." "You don't understand. My father is furious. He's threatening to cut me off completely. Brennan's firm is investigating him. This is ruining both our lives." I felt something cold and satisfied settle in my chest. You ruined your own lives. I just made sure everyone could see it. "Please," Sloane whispered. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Your 2 minutes are up." I closed the door. Through the wood, I heard her sob once, then footsteps retreating down the hallway. I felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just a calm, clear certainty that I'd done exactly what needed to be done. At 10:58 a.m., I walked into Hartley Associates' downtown office. The lobby was all glass and steel, modern architectural drawings covering the walls. The receptionist, a woman named Morgan, looked at me with barely concealed curiosity. "Josie Hartwell for Mr. Hartley," I said. "He's expecting you. Conference room C." Hartley was a tall man in his early 50s, silver hair, sharp suit, the kind of person who built a successful firm through sheer competence and no-nonsense management. He stood when I entered. "Ms. Hartwell, thank you for coming." Also present, a woman introduced as Linda Graves, the firm's HR director, and someone named Pierce Whitman, their legal counsel. This was serious. "I need to see the evidence you mentioned," Hartley said once we were seated. I pulled out my phone and placed it on the conference table. I showed them the 4 photos, the Instagram post, the text message thread where I'd informed hotel management. Hartley's jaw tightened. Linda made notes. Pierce studied everything with a lawyer's careful attention. "This is time-stamped at 9:51 p.m. on December 31st, and you went to the hotel because—" "Brennan called and asked me to bring his portfolio. He said he had a client dinner. When I arrived, the hotel had no record of any corporate event, just a room reservation under his name." Hartley exhaled slowly. "Ms. Hartwell, I need to ask you something difficult. Did you know Sloane Ashford was Gavin Ashford's daughter?" "Not until you told me this morning. I knew she came from money, but she never mentioned her father's company. She told me she worked in consulting." Linda looked up from her notes. "And you've been living together for how long?" 8 months. She moved in last May. "Right around when Brennan started working the Ashford Properties account," Pierce said quietly. Hartley stood and walked to the window, hands clasped behind his back. "Here's the situation, Ms. Hartwell. Gavin Ashford called me at 7:30 this morning. He saw your Instagram post. He's furious, not at you, at us. He believes we allowed inappropriate conduct between his daughter and one of our architects. He's threatening to terminate every contract we have with Ashford Properties unless we take immediate action." "What kind of action?" "Termination, effective immediately. Brennan Cole will be fired by end of business today." I should have felt something. Victory, maybe. Satisfaction. Instead, I just felt tired.
"There's more," Hartley continued. Because this involves a client relationship, we're obligated to report the ethics violation to the state licensing board. Brennan could face professional sanctions, suspension, possibly. Pierce leaned forward. Miss Hartwell, we need to ask, are you planning to pursue legal action against Brennan or our firm? I haven't decided yet. If you do, we want you to know we'll cooperate fully. We don't protect employees who violate client trust. I nodded. Can I ask what happens to Sloan? Hartley's expression hardened. Gavin Ashford informed me his daughter is being cut off financially until she learns the consequences of her actions. His words, not mine. Apparently, this isn't her first scandal. Of course it wasn't. Will you be pursuing anything against her legally? Linda asked. No, she's not worth the energy. But I do need one thing from you. Name it, Hartley said. I want written documentation of everything. Brennan's termination, the ethics complaint, the timeline. If he ever tries to claim I sabotaged him or made false accusations, I want proof that his own firm found him at fault. You'll have it by tomorrow morning, Pierce said. The meeting ended at 11:52 a.m. I walked out of that building feeling lighter than I had in months, maybe years. By 3 p.m., Brennan had been officially terminated. By 4:30 p.m., the story had spread through the architecture community. A colleague from my own job texted me, "Just heard about Brennan. Holy shit, everyone's talking about it." By 6 p.m., Brennan had called me 34 times. I answered exactly once at 7:15 p.m. Josie, please, I don't want to hear it. You destroyed my career. You posted that photo knowing it would ruin everything. No, Brennan, you destroyed your career when you decided sleeping with a client's daughter was worth it. I just made sure people knew the truth. I loved you. We could have worked through this. I laughed, actually laughed. You loved me so much you were sleeping with my roommate for 4 months, in hotel rooms I probably helped pay for, using the car I helped you buy, while I cooked your meals and ironed your shirts, and delivered your forgotten portfolios like a fool. It was a mistake. Mistakes happen once. You made a choice, over and over. For 4 months, you chose her. Now you get to live with the consequences. Josie. I hung up. Then I blocked his number. 3 days later, on January 4th, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Miss Hartwell? This is Gavin Ashford. I nearly dropped my phone. Mr. Ashford? I wasn't expecting to hear from you. I wanted to call personally. First, to apologize. My daughter's behavior was inexcusable. She violated your trust and your home. That reflects poorly on how I raised her, and I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Second, I wanted you to know I've handled the situation. Sloan is moving to my property in Portland. She'll be working a real job for the first time in her life at one of my property management offices. No trust fund access until she proves she's learned something from this. That seems fair. And third, his voice softened slightly. I looked into your background, Miss Hartwell. Data coordinator at a tech startup, strong analytic skills, excellent professional reputation. Are you happy there? I blinked. It's a good job. I'm expanding my analytics division, Mr. Ashford continued. I need someone sharp, someone with integrity, someone who doesn't fold under pressure. I'd like to offer you an interview. Mr. Ashford, you don't have to. I'm not offering out of pity. I'm offering because you handled a nightmare situation with more grace and strategy than most people twice your age. That's exactly who I want on my team. 2 weeks later, I started at Ashford Properties with a $32,000 raise, a corner office, and a boss who respected me. 1 month after that, I moved into a new apartment. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, windows that actually let in sunlight. No roommates, no memories. Brennan, from what I heard through mutual friends, was working at a small residential firm in a suburb 2 hours away. He'd been sanctioned by the licensing board, nothing permanent, but enough to tank his reputation. Sloane, according to her sister Bailey, who I'd stayed in touch with, was apparently thriving in Portland, working 50-hour weeks, living in a modest apartment, actually paying her own bills for the first time ever. Bailey said she seemed like a different person. Good for her, I guess. On New Year's Eve, 1 year later, I stood on my apartment balcony watching fireworks explode over the city. I held a glass of champagne and thought about who I'd been 365 days ago. The girl who rushed across town to deliver forgotten portfolios, who made herself smaller so her boyfriend could feel bigger, who ignored red flags because acknowledging them would mean admitting she'd wasted 3 years on someone who didn't value her. That girl was gone. In her place was someone who knew her worth, who didn't apologize for taking up space, who understood that the kindest thing you can do for yourself sometimes is to walk away from people who treat you like you're optional. My phone buzzed, a text from my sister Hannah. Hannah, Happy New Year, Josie. Proud of you. Love you. Josie, love you too. This year's going to be even better. And I meant it. Because here's what I learned that night at the Grand Haven Hotel, standing in that lobby with 4 photos that changed everything. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate schemes or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it's just telling the truth and letting consequences do their job. Sometimes it's choosing yourself when everyone else expects you to shrink. And sometimes, the best New Year's resolution you can make is to stop accepting less than you deserve. So, tell me, what's your New Year's story? Have you ever made a choice in a single moment that changed everything? A sent message, a closed door, a confrontation you finally stopped avoiding? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise someone out there needs to hear your story so they can take their next step. Happy New Year. Make it count.